tomorrow, I start writing my book. The book is going to be about this. So I'm going to give you, this is my little advertisement. I'm going to go quickly through this and then we'll go into the groups. I'll comment if anybody has, by the way, I sent around the grade things, everybody got them. A couple people, not very many, a couple people had questions, and I expect you to come up after class, we'll get it figured out. This and that, then you get the recorded time ready. If anybody has questions understanding it, I'll come back to that in a minute. Let me give my sales pitch first. This is my sales pitch. This is, I have been thinking about this word for over 20 years. And I now have thought enough about it that I got to write a book. Next. So, to introduce this topic, imagine that there's a Columbus from some other planet that comes to Earth. So, what I was going to say is an anthropologist, but of course, if it's an alien, he doesn't know the anthro part. So it's a Columbus, a discoverer, comes to Earth. Next. And so, coming down to Earth, you see something like this. All right, clear. Some of you may have seen films about Titan. You know, the moon off Jupiter or Saturn? Saturn, I think. It's about the same size as the Earth, and Titan looks something like this. It has oceans. Our oceans are full of water. Titan's oceans are full of methane. But it's oceans, and they have weather, storms, and so forth. Next. And our satellite that goes by Titan can also identify the plates in, sort of the geological formations. All of this is part of the physical reality. Next. But the thing, we're used to looking at maps like this. But this is something that alien Columbus could not see. We're so used to looking at maps that we sort of think this is part of our world. And indeed, it's part of our world, but it's certainly not part of our physical world. Imagine what it would take to try and explain these lines to your dog. Imagine what it would take next. So, what is Deontic? Next. I conjecture that Deontic is probably as unique to humans as is language. It's true that animals, crows, chimpanzees, can understand words, but they don't. The big challenge seems to be what's called compositionality. Animals can't put words together to make meaning. But another part is understanding. Deontic comes from a Greek word. Anybody here know Greek? It comes from a Greek word, deontos, something like that, that means should or ought. Deontic is about the shoulds. And what I'm trying to do in this book, and its implications for information systems, is understand this as a different kind of information, a different kind of reality. Deontic also is what's called normative rules, bureaucratic rules, the rules that you obey in what we just did in this evaluation. There's rules about how to put it in the envelope, maybe such and such a place. My role as professor, I follow certain rules. Beginning with mothers to children, certain rules about what they're supposed to do and not do. And typically, related to these rules is some kind of enforcement or punishment. And it's interesting that there's been cognitive studies, and if you look at, for instance, cheating behavior. Cheating is disobeying beyond the rules. The inspection of cheating, the evaluation of whether somebody obeys the rules or not, is done in a different part of the brain than recognizing physical facts. We're programmed, it's apparently in our psyche to be able to understand these are social rules. Most of the Deontic, some Deontic is imposed by individuals, such as our parents, but other parts are imposed by various kinds of institutions. Governments make laws, organizations have different kinds of responsibilities. churches have religious rules and so forth. A big question is, how do you know, how do you verify? By the way, identity fraud is also falls into this fraud category. How do you verify a certain fact? For instance, most of you consider me to be the professor. How do you know that's true? You don't know it's true by looking at it. I mean, you could do a physical exam and not find any part professor in my book. The same is true about you being an FIU, a student at FIU, and possibly, how many, at the end of this semester, how many of you graduate? That's a change in your Deontic status. At that point, you will no longer be a student. You'll be, I don't know, a free-range agent or something like that. And note that you're having that degree. A big part of that is you're getting evidence of that. It's not that we can observe you, but we observe the evidence. And this is a different kind of fact. The way you verify these kinds of facts is you have to verify the evidence as opposed to observation. If I claim it's raining outside, you can go check. If I claim that I'm a member of some mysterious religious cult, well, you take my word for it, or you ask for some kind of evidence. Next. What do you see in this picture? What Deontic things do you see? What? Note, you look at this picture, and before I mention it, you probably don't see anything. I mean, this is so obvious to us. We see these things before we even figure out. I mean, we obviously drive into a parking lot, and of course the lines are. A dog doesn't know that. We know this from very early, a line down the middle of the street means you walk on one side or the other. Some lines are important. Other lines are not important. And this funny-looking thing looks like a question mark. But you all know what it means, right? It means that you parked there, you better get out of your car in a wheelchair. And this, what do these lines mean? No part. How do you know that?
Learned behavior.
Huh?
Learned behavior.
Learned behavior. All right. Next. Talk about learned behavior. This is Taiwan. Well, according to Pi, it's not. Traffic has gotten a little bit later since then. But notice how everybody follows. No, what do you see Deontic here?
One with the cones.
You see the cones. You see that people are driving in lines. Anything else, Deontic, that you see?
Cows. One line for both.
Next. What do you see that's Deontic here?
Dinner.
If you're in context country, you can put in jail for saying Say again? But the point is, he's sitting in the middle of the road.
The Deontic reality.
That's the Deontic reality in India. It's amazing. The bus goes around now because that's their rule system. I mean, it has nothing to do with physical abilities. It's like the what? In Pembroke Pines, the dog is sacred. Duck. Sorry, duck. The ducks are sacred. Dogs you can kill. Got it. I got it. Okay, next. Big deal. Big deal. I've just read a paper that claims that this is sort of the origins of our Deontic understanding. Deontic hierarchies, which are also present next. I mean, animal kingdoms. This is